Welcome to this week's edition of Bob versus Willie. He's Bob Gersten. I'm Willie Witten. And this is the show where we discuss topics, mostly lists, but really, once again, I'm feeling generous. It's around Christmas time. Bob mostly teaches me about music. I've been saying it the other way around, but a couple of my friends have made note of that. So, Bob, as long as I've said that, what are you going to teach me about this week?
Well, we're going to be doing Kenny Wayne Shepherd.
All right, and his top 10 songs. Bob, you want to lead? You want me to start the proceedings?
You can go ahead and start.
I will. I'm going to start with one that I think some people might not really approve of. It's not one of his songs. It's a Booker White song, Aberdeen, off Kenny Wayne Shepherd's first album, and that is Ledbetter Heights. The reason why I chose it, Bob, is because what it shows is he brings that song to life in a very traditional way, but he's not doing a straight copy of the song. I thought it was very cool. It's the song on the album that really reached me, I thought. What's your number 10?
Actually, that's a good choice. I like that one. I almost chose it, but I didn't. My number 10 is Deja Voodoo. Deja Voodoo is off of Ledbetter Heights, which was his first album. And I saw him live when he was doing that album back in 1996. I mean, he just turned 19 when I saw him. And at that time, Corey Sterling was on vocals, yes, not Noah Hunt. And number 9 is Nothing But the Night, and that's off his 2017 album, Lay It Down. And it's a punchy pop tune with really great vocals and incendiary guitar work that's accompanied by the driving drums of Chris Layton.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the Hunt-Layton combo. That's what he's stuck with ever since that first album, or at least predominantly, certainly Hunt's voice on the rest besides his first
second album.
Right. For my number 9, I have Alive. I found it. I like it. It's interesting to me more than anything. It's different. It's almost sort of pop grunge, which he doesn't do often. So I enjoyed that. And then for 8, I like Shame, 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 also off his premiere, Ledbetter Heights. I like that because it gives us a clue that as flashy as he is also able to come to the basics and do a very stripped down but high quality blues tune. What do you got for 8-7, Bob?
Well, I actually like Alive. I gave it a little higher score than you did. Somehow, somewhere, some way is what I did for number 8. And again, that's off 97's Trouble Is with Noah Hunt. And it's, again, got a great guitar part in it. And I just love the mesmerizing beat of it. Then for number 7, The Dark Side of Love off of How Should I Go, or How I Go, in 2011. And, it's a lighter sort of song. And it just is a catchy tune to me.
I looked at that song as well. It didn't make my list. I tend, as you'll see with the rest of this list, I hewed towards the harder driving songs, the one where he gets a little more guitar dramatic. So for me, speaking of number 7, Turn to Stone, it's off his recent Traveler. When he plays it live, the outro is tremendous. Number 6 is a song you've already mentioned off the legendary Trouble Is, Somehow, Somewhere, Some Way.
Well, my number 6 is Lay It Down, which is, to me, a really killer acoustic number. And I mean, it's kind of done in a country style, but Kenny's doing the vocals on it. And the thing that I find interesting is when I first saw Kenny in 96, he did one song where he sang on it, and it was horrible. And I thought, oh, please, do not. This is Joe Satriani. Joe Satriani can't sing either. So the thing is, it kind of blew me away when he started singing, and I figure he must have gotten some vocal lessons, and he's doing pretty good. And for number 5, Still a Fool, which is off of 2014's Going Home. And he collaborated on it with Robert Randolph, and yes, it's a really good guitar jam, that lasts for about 7 minutes.
Yeah. I also looked at that song. I loved how it incorporated some very traditional blues licks, the song that you just mentioned, in a harder way. So I looked at it, but I went another way. For my number 5, I picked Slow Ride, first song off the first album with Noah Hunt. I find it to be a great song in and of itself. I guess I put it as high as I did because what it signified to me was this is when listeners finally get to hear the Kenny Wayne Shepherd and Noah Hunt pairing, which I think for a lot of people who are casual listeners think that it's Kenny Wayne singing. This is the sound that everyone knows is Kenny Wayne's voice, even though it isn't. It's the first time you get to hear it. Number 4, Woman Like You on Traveler, a recent album. It's just punchy. It's right to the point. It's throbby. It's bassy. It's driving. So those are mine. What do you got, Bob?
For number 4, I have Diamonds and Gold off of 2017, Lay It Down. And it is one of those songs where when he was doing it with the big band, the horns and all of that, it reminded me of Chicago. And I actually thought of him copying Terry Cat on his guitar playing with the wah-wah pedal. Number 3 is Woman Like You, just as you pick, and I like it for all the same reasons. And I especially like, once again, Chris Layton's hypnotic beat on it.
Yes, exactly. It's got that hypnotic is the perfect word. I can't think of a better way to describe it. For me, number 3, I picked Diamonds and Gold off the Lay It On Down. I enjoy that a lot. And this is going to leave some people wondering, but for my number 2, I have Blue on Black. So I won't say too much about it, Bob. I'll let you finish your list and then we'll get into discussing.
All right. Number 2 is Alive, which you already picked. And my number 1 is Blue on Black. And that appears on his second album, the first one with Noah Hunt. And it's pretty much his signature song. And it was on Billboard's Talk Rock Song for 1997.
Yes, it was. I remember where I was when I first heard it. I was down on vacation with my family in Florida. I made sure they didn't change the channel. I just was glued to it. So I have to explain my number 1, Heat of the Sun. Before you tear into me, let me make a quick explanation. The reason why is because I feel that it is a song, especially when he plays it live, it has more avenues in which he can musically go down. And I think that's a positive thing for Kenny Wayne Shepherd with his guitar. I'm taking nothing away for Blue on Black. I could have swapped him. I just think there's a little more room in Heat of the Sun. Bob, how much of a fool am I for not putting Blue on Black, which I would guess 9 out of 10 people would?
Well, I mean, you put it at number 2, so you still put it close. I can't complain.
I'll ask you this. Some of your middle picks, and you mentioned this as well, were softer or acoustic. Besides Aberdeen, which I don't think a lot of people would consider that strictly acoustic because of its gritty slide tone to it. When I think of Kenny Wayne Shepherd, I think electric. I don't think acoustic. So when I pick these 10 songs, even though I like a couple of those songs, Bob, I don't see them falling in my top 10. What is it about them that makes them compete with some of his edgier, harder, flashier stuff that we all know him for?
Well, I love the edgier, harder stuff, but at the same time, I like to have somebody that can also do the lighter stuff. Right. I mean, I enjoy a musician, like let's say I go see James Taylor or Neil Young. They can sit there with an acoustic guitar and they don't need any backup, and they're good. They're still just as good. And there's many artists that are able to do that. And I think that is something that isn't easily performed by a lot of different artists. And this is an example to show his diversity and to be able to expand in other areas besides being a hard rocker. I mean, look at Kid Rock. Kid Rock started doing some country stuff, and going into a different area just to show versatility. Look at Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan has changed his style so many times within his career. He's been booed and had more tomatoes thrown at him than there is in the fruit market, And the thing is, it's like, he's always experimenting, and I think that's a good thing, because you never know what's going to be coming down the pike and what you might be able to do with an acoustic guitar all by yourself. And a lot at the same time, it's a lot cheaper to travel around with one person than it is with a whole band.
Yes, it is.
Kenny Wayne Shepherd, I want to see the whole band.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that's just something, one area.
One last quick question, and I'll let you answer, and then I'll give my thoughts. Noah Hunt, we've mentioned. Does Kenny Wayne Shepherd become as big as he did and still is? And this is nothing against Corey Sterling. I think he's a good singer in his own right. He's the gentleman on the first album. Does Kenny Wayne Shepherd and the Kenny Wayne Shepherd band ever reach the heights that they did and do today without Noah Hunt?
I think that he would have to have a lead singer. Noah's a great singer, but if he replaced Noah with somebody else that was just as good, that would be fine. But I don't think that he could carry it all by himself. Definitely not until he was starting to sing more. Sure. And I don't know. You look at Johnny Lang, his voice gave out. Yeah. And it's like he's holding back. And the thing is, he still could tour and just play guitar if he wanted to, but he wants to be able to sing. So I think it depends on what Kenny wants to do, whether he wants to be a lead singer along with being a guitar player.
Okay, that's a pretty solid answer. Bob, I'd spin the yarn with you forever, but we got to go. We're actually a bit over. I lost track of time. To all you guys listening, please go ahead and make a comment. Tell us where we're wrong. Tell us why our clothes are old-fashioned and dorky. Whatever you want to say, put it in the comments. Give us a like if you like it. But until next time, he's Bob Gersten. I'm Willie Witten. This has been Bob versus Willie.